In this video, we're taking a calm journey into the Middle Ages, not to witness grand battles or coronations, but to understand something far more intimate and human. What daily life actually felt like for ordinary people living 7, 8, or 900 years ago. We often imagine the medieval period through the lens of castles, knights, and dramatic events. But for the vast majority of people who lived through those centuries, life was not dramatic at all. It was quiet, it was slow, and above all, it was exhausting in ways that are difficult for us to fully comprehend today. In this journey, we'll walk through a single day in a medieval village, experiencing the rhythms, the sounds, the silences, and the relentless physical demands that shaped every waking hour. We'll discover why life moved at the pace it did, why silence was the default state of existence, and why people collapsed into sleep each night with a bone-deep weariness we can barely imagine. So settle in, relax, close your eyes, and let the story carry you back through the centuries. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share in the comments where you're watching from. Let's begin. The darkness is just beginning to soften. If you were lying on your straw mattress in a small medieval cottage somewhere in England or France or the Holy Roman Empire, you would notice the darkness changing before you noticed anything else. Not light, exactly. Not yet. Just a lessening of the complete and total blackness that has surrounded you for the past 10 or 12 hours. There are no alarm clocks, no phone notifications, no distant sound of traffic building on a highway. The silence is nearly complete, broken only by the sound of your own breathing, the breathing of your family members sleeping near you, and perhaps the distant crow of a rooster from somewhere in the village. You lie still for a moment, feeling the cold. The fire that burned in the central hearth last evening has long since died down to ashes. The temperature inside your home is barely different from the temperature outside. Your breath makes small clouds in the air, though you cannot see them yet in the dimness. You can feel the cold radiating from the packed earth floor beneath your mattress, seeping up through the straw, through the rough wool blanket that covers you. Your body aches. This is normal. This is how every morning begins. Your back aches from yesterday's work in the fields. Your hands are rough, the skin cracked and hardened from constant labor. Your muscles carry the permanent stiffness of a body that never fully rests, that never stops working long enough to truly recover. You are perhaps 30 years old, and your body feels ancient. Slowly, because there is no reason to move quickly, and because quick movement would send sharp pains through your stiff joints, you sit up. The rough wool of your tunic scratches against your skin. You have slept in this tunic. You sleep in it every night. You will wear it all day. You own perhaps 2 or 3 garments in total, and this is one of them. Around you in the darkness, you can hear your family beginning to stir. Your wife sleeping beside you. Your 3 children huddled together on another straw mattress against the opposite wall. Your elderly mother in the corner near where the fire was. Everyone is waking at roughly the same time, not because anyone has called them, but because bodies accustomed to this rhythm simply know when dawn is approaching. No one speaks yet. There is nothing to say. Every day is like this, has been like this, will be like this tomorrow and the day after and the day after that, stretching forward into a future that looks almost identical to the past. You stand, carefully, feeling your way in the darkness. Your feet touch the cold earth floor. The cottage is small, perhaps 20 feet by 15 feet. It contains everything your family owns. The 2 straw mattresses, a rough wooden table, 2 benches, a few cooking pots, some tools leaning against the wall, a chest containing the few spare clothes and possessions you have. That is all. That is everything. You move toward the doorway, your hands outstretched slightly in the dimness. You know this space so intimately that you could navigate it blind, which is essentially what you are doing. Your fingers find the wooden door, rough and splintered. You lift the simple latch and push it open. The outside air hits you immediately, colder than the inside air, which seems impossible but is true. The sky above is just beginning to show the first hint of gray at the eastern horizon. Stars still scatter across the dome of sky above you, more stars than you can count, more stars than anyone in our modern world sees except in the most remote places. The Milky Way is a bright river across the darkness. You notice none of this particularly. You see these stars every clear night. They are as familiar to you as the ceiling of your home. The silence is profound. No engines, no electricity humming through wires, no distant airplane, no refrigerator motor, no heating system, no computers, no phones, no mechanical sounds of any kind. The silence is broken only by natural sounds. The roosters beginning to crow from various points in the village, the rustle of wind through bare winter branches, the distant sound of the stream that runs past the village, and the quiet movements of other villagers emerging from their own cottages into the pre-dawn darkness. You walk a short distance from your cottage to relieve yourself. There is no bathroom. There is no indoor plumbing. There is a designated area at the edge of your small plot where such matters are attended to, and then you return. Your wife has emerged from the cottage behind you. She moves silently to the well in the center of the village, a shadow among shadows. She will draw water for the day. This is one of her tasks, as it is every day. She will make multiple trips to the well throughout the day because water is heavy and can only be carried in limited quantities, and because everything requires water. Cooking, drinking, cleaning, such as it is. She carries a wooden bucket in each hand. You return to the cottage. Inside, your mother has managed to coax the embers in the hearth back to life. She has done this by carefully brushing aside the ashes, finding the embers beneath, adding small pieces of dry straw and thin kindling, and blowing gently but persistently until tiny flames appeared. This has taken her perhaps 10 or 15 minutes. She does this every morning. It is one of the few tasks she is still capable of at her age. The fire is small, but it provides a tiny amount of light and a tiny amount of warmth. It is fed carefully because fuel must last. Every piece of wood has been gathered by hand, carried by hand, and must be used sparingly. You do not simply turn up a thermostat. You do not throw on wood carelessly. Every flame must be justified by necessity. Your children are awake now, sitting on their mattress, waiting. They are quiet. Medieval children learn very early to be quiet, to not draw attention, to not make demands. Life is hard enough without the additional burden of noisy children. They range in age from 5 to 11. Each of them knows they will spend this day much as they spent yesterday and the day before that. The older ones will help with the work. The younger ones will tag along, learning by watching, contributing what small labor they can. Your wife returns with water. She pours some into a pot, which she hangs over the fire. This water will be heated for a thin porridge of oats. This is breakfast, though it will not be ready for some time yet. The fire is small. The pot will heat slowly. You will all wait because there is nothing else to do and because you are accustomed to waiting. The light outside is growing now. You can see more clearly. The village is taking shape in the gray dawn. It is a small place, perhaps 30 cottages like yours, arranged loosely around a central common area where the well stands and where the village church rises, by far the largest structure, built of stone, while all the cottages are made of wood and mud and thatch. The church bell has not rung yet. It will ring soon, calling the village to morning prayers. The priest is likely already awake, preparing for the day. The lord of the manor, who lives in a larger house at the far end of the village, is probably still asleep. He can afford to be. His life, while not luxurious by modern standards, is vastly easier than yours. But you do not think about this. You do not think in terms of fairness or justice or alternative ways society might be organized. This is simply the way things are, the way things have always been, the way things will always be. You are a peasant. You work the land. You owe labor and a portion of your harvest to the Lord. You attend church. You marry, have children, grow old if you are lucky, and die. This is life. This is the only life anyone you know has ever known. Other villagers are emerging from their cottages now. You can see them, dim figures in the growing light. A man leading an ox toward the fields. A woman with buckets heading to the well. Children scattering to begin their morning tasks of feeding chickens, gathering eggs, bringing in wood for the fire. Everyone moves slowly. There is no rushing. Rushing accomplishes nothing and wastes energy that will be needed for the long day ahead. The silence remains. People do not call out greetings. There is little conversation. Everyone knows what everyone else is doing, because everyone is doing essentially the same things they do every morning. Words are not needed. The quietness is normal, expected, comfortable in its way. You stand in the doorway of your cottage, looking out at the village as it slowly comes to life in the dawn. The sky is lighter now, a pale gray that will eventually turn to the weak sunlight of a winter day. Your breath still makes clouds in the cold air. Your body still aches. You are already tired, and the day's real work has not even begun. This is how every day starts. This is the rhythm of medieval life. Slow, quiet, cold, exhausting before it even truly begins. Inside the cottage, your wife stirs the pot of porridge slowly. The oats are swelling in the hot water, turning into a thick, pasty substance that will fill your stomach without satisfying it. There is no butter to add, no sugar, no milk, just oats and water, perhaps with a tiny amount of salt if there is salt to be had. This is more than many people have. You are fortunate to have even this. Your children wait patiently. They have learned patience. They have never known a life where food appears quickly, where warmth is instant, where entertainment is available at the touch of a button. They know only this, waiting for porridge to cook over a slow fire, being cold most of the time, working alongside adults as soon as they are able, and going to bed when darkness falls because there is no light to do anything else. Your mother sits near the fire, her hands stretched toward the small warmth. Her hands are twisted with age and hard work, the fingers bent in ways fingers should not bend. She can no longer do heavy work, but she can tend the fire, and she can watch the youngest child, and she can prepare simple meals. She does not complain. She has never complained. Complaint serves no purpose. This is her life. She has lived it for 60 years, which makes her remarkably old by the standards of your village. Most people do not reach such an age. She is both proud of this longevity and exhausted by it. The church bell rings, finally. A single bronze bell, rung by hand, its sound carrying across the village and the fields beyond. It is the sound that structures your day, that marks the hours, that calls you to prayer. You hear it so often it has become like silence itself, something you notice and do not notice at the same time. You do not immediately rush to the church. The porridge is nearly ready, and you will eat first. Morning prayers can wait the few minutes it takes to consume your breakfast. The priest understands this. He is not unreasonable. He knows his parishioners must eat, must work, must survive. His own life is easier than yours, but not by as much as you might think. He too lives simply. He too feels the cold. Your wife ladles the porridge into wooden bowls. There are exactly enough bowls for your family. Each bowl has been carved by hand, by you, during the long winter evenings when it was too dark to work outside but not yet time to sleep. The bowls are rough but functional. They are precious because they are useful, and because replacing them would require hours of work. You eat in silence. The porridge is hot, which is the best thing about it. It warms you from the inside, a warmth that will fade quickly but is welcome while it lasts. You eat slowly because the porridge is hot, and because eating slowly makes it seem like more. Each person receives a roughly equal portion, though you and your wife, as the adults who will do the heaviest work, perhaps receive slightly more. No one comments on this. It is understood. The youngest child eats with her fingers, scooping the thick porridge and licking it from her hand. She is too young to care about manners, and besides, there are no spoons. Spoons are for wealthy people. You use pieces of bread to scoop your porridge when there is bread. But this morning there is no bread. The bread was finished yesterday. Perhaps there will be more tomorrow if your wife has time to bake, if there is flour, if the fire can be made hot enough. When the porridge is gone, you set down your bowl. Your wife will clean them later when she heats water. For now, they are simply stacked near the door. You stand, feeling your joints protest. It is time to begin the real work of the day. Your oldest son, 11 years old, stands with you. He will come to the fields. He is old enough now to do real work, not just tag along. He is proud of this, though he does not show it. Medieval people do not show much emotion outwardly. Life is too hard for displays of feeling. You save your energy for work. Your wife will remain at the cottage with the younger children and your mother. She has her own endless list of tasks, tending the small vegetable garden behind the cottage, caring for the chickens, spinning wool if there is wool, mending clothes that are nearly more patch than original fabric, preparing the midday meal, fetching more water, keeping the fire going, watching the children. Her day will be as long as yours, and just as exhausting. There is no leisure. There is no rest. There is only work from dawn until darkness makes work impossible. You pick up your tools, a spade with a wooden handle and an iron blade. The blade is old, has been sharpened many times, and is growing thin. Eventually it will break, and replacing it will be expensive. You do not think about this. You try not to think about things you cannot control. Your son picks up a smaller spade. Together, you walk out into the morning. The village is more active now. Other men and older boys are heading toward the fields that surround the village on all sides. Some lead oxen, some carry tools. No one is empty-handed. Everyone has work. Work is the defining characteristic of medieval life. You work or you starve. It is that simple. The sun is finally beginning to rise, a pale disk in the eastern sky. It provides light but little warmth. The air is still cold. It will remain cold all day. This is winter, late winter, the hardest time of year when the food stores from harvest are running low and the new planting season has not yet begun. This is when people die, when the old and the weak and the unlucky simply do not wake up one morning. Your family has survived so far. You hope you will continue to survive. The fields stretch out before you, bare earth broken by patches of stubble from last year's crop. The soil is cold and hard. It will need to be broken up, prepared for spring planting. This is your task today, as it was yesterday, as it will be tomorrow. You will spend the entire day driving your spade into the hard earth, breaking it up, turning it over. You will do this until your back screams and your hands blister and your body demands rest, and then you will do it again the next day. Your son will work beside you, doing what he can. He is not yet strong enough to do a man's full work, but he contributes what he can, and he is learning. By the time he is 15 or 16, he will be able to do what you do, and he will do it for the rest of his life, just as you have, just as your father did before you. This is the medieval world. This is daily life. Slow, because there are no machines to speed anything up. Quiet, because there is nothing to make noise, and because people are too exhausted to talk much. And exhausting, because every single thing requires physical labor, human muscle, unending effort. You reach your section of the field, the strip of land assigned to you. You plant your spade in the earth and begin. The day has started. The spade goes into the earth with a solid, dull sound. Not a clang, not a ring, but a heavy thud as iron meets cold soil. You push down with your foot on the top edge of the blade, using your body weight to drive it deeper. The earth resists. It is late winter, and the ground has been frozen and thawed and frozen again over the past months. It is dense, compacted, stubborn. You push the handle forward, leveraging the blade to lift and turn a chunk of soil. Your shoulders take the strain. Your back bends with the effort. The soil breaks reluctantly, turning over in a rough clump. You take a step backward and drive the spade in again. Thud. Push. Lift. Turn. Step back. Again. This is the rhythm you will maintain for hours. There is no variation, no breaks in the pattern, just the same motion repeated hundreds, thousands of times. Your body knows this rhythm so well that you do not think about it. Your muscles simply perform the familiar sequence, while your mind drifts, goes quiet, thinks of nothing in particular. Beside you, your son attempts to match your pace. He drives his smaller spade into the earth. His strokes are less efficient than yours, his strength not yet fully developed, but he is trying. You do not instruct him. There is nothing to say. He learns by doing, by watching, by the gradual building of muscle and technique that comes only through repetition. This is how all skills are learned in the medieval world. There are no books, no instructional videos, no classes. There is only watching and doing again until the body understands. Around you in the field, perhaps 20 other men and boys are doing the same work. Each has his own strip of land to prepare. The field is divided into long, narrow strips, each belonging to a different family in the village. Your strip is roughly the same size as everyone else's. This is the open field system, the way agriculture has been organized for as long as anyone can remember. The sound of work fills the air, but it is not a loud sound. It is the accumulated quiet of many people performing slow, repetitive labor. The thud of spades, the occasional grunt of effort, the creak of wooden plow being pulled by oxen on the far side of the field, the shuffle of feet, the breathing of laboring men. These sounds blend together into something that is almost silence, a working quietness that is the natural state of the medieval countryside. No one speaks. There is no conversation, no calling back and forth, no jokes or stories being shared. Everyone is focused on their work, and besides, speaking requires energy that is better saved for the labor itself. You will work alongside these men all day, men you have known your entire life, men who are your neighbors and cousins and brothers, and you will exchange perhaps a dozen words among you. This silence is not uncomfortable. It is not awkward. It is simply normal. Medieval people do not fill every moment with sound the way people in later centuries will. They are comfortable with quiet, accustomed to it, perhaps even prefer it. Words are used when necessary, when there is something practical to communicate. Otherwise, silence is the default state. The sun is climbing higher now, though its warmth remains negligible. The sky has turned from gray to a pale, washed-out blue. There are no clouds. It will be a clear day, which means it will remain cold. Cloudy days sometimes hold a bit more warmth, trap it beneath the cloud layer. Clear days let all the heat escape into the vast emptiness of the sky. You can see your breath with each exhalation, little clouds that dissipate immediately. Your hands are cold where they grip the wooden handle of the spade. You are wearing rough cloth wrapped around your hands for protection, but it does little against the cold. Your fingers are already beginning to go numb. This too is normal. This too is simply endured. The work continues. Thud, push, lift, turn, step back, again and again and again. Your mind, freed from the need to direct your body, wanders in slow, unfocused ways. You think about the midday meal, wondering what there will be. Probably the same thin soup there is most days, perhaps with a piece of bread if your wife managed to bake. You think about the ox your neighbor owns, wondering if you might be able to borrow it for a day when plowing time comes. You think about the thatch on your cottage roof, which needs repair. You think about these things without urgency, without planning, just letting thoughts drift through your mind like clouds across the sky. This is what passes for entertainment in your world. Your own thoughts, moving slowly through your head while your body works. There are no books to read. You cannot read anyway. Perhaps one person in your village can read, the priest, and even his reading is labored and slow. There is no music except on rare feast days when someone might play a simple pipe or drum. There is no art on the walls of your cottage, no decoration of any kind. There is only work and rest and the slow movement of your own thoughts. Your son makes a small sound of effort beside you. You glance at him briefly. His face is red with exertion. Sweat is forming on his forehead despite the cold. He is working hard, trying to prove himself, trying to match your pace. You feel a flicker of something that might be pride, though you do not examine the feeling closely. Feelings are luxuries, things you do not have time for. You return your attention to your own work. The strip of land you are responsible for is perhaps 100 feet long and about 20 feet wide. You have been working for perhaps an hour, and you have completed maybe a quarter of it. The sun will set in roughly 9 or 10 hours. You will work until then, with a break for the midday meal. You will probably finish the strip today if your pace holds. Tomorrow you will begin another strip, or perhaps return to this one to break up the clods more finely. The work is never truly done. There is always more to do. A bird calls from somewhere across the field. You do not look up. You do not know what kind of bird it is. You do not think about birds unless you are trying to catch one for food, and even that is rare. Birds are simply part of the background of life, like the wind and the clouds and the cold. The rhythm of work continues. Your back is beginning to ache more persistently now. The initial stiffness of morning is giving way to the deeper ache of sustained labor. Your shoulders burn. Your hands, even through the wrappings, are developing blisters on top of the calluses that already cover your palms. You ignore all of this. Pain is constant. Pain is normal. You have been in pain every day of your adult life. You will be in pain every day until you die. There is no point in acknowledging it. In the distance, beyond the fields, you can see the forest that surrounds the village lands. The forest is dark, dense, mysterious. It is the Lord's forest, forbidden to you except for specific, limited purposes. You may gather fallen wood for your fire, but you may not cut living trees. You may not hunt the deer that live in those woods. The deer belong to the Lord. If you are caught poaching, the punishment is severe. You might lose a hand, you might be hanged. You do not often think about the forest. It is simply there, a boundary to your world. Beyond the forest are other villages, other fields, other forests. Eventually, far away, there are cities, though you have never seen one and likely never will. You were born in this village. You will die in this village. The distance you will travel in your entire life will be perhaps 10 or 15 miles in any direction, and even that would be unusual. Most people never leave the immediate area of their birth. This is not a limitation you resent. This is simply reality. The world is large, but your world is small, and that is how things are. You do not dream of traveling to distant places. You do not wonder what lies beyond the horizon. Such thoughts would be pointless. You have work to do here, in this field, with this spade, turning this earth. The sun continues to climb. It must be mid-morning now, perhaps 2 or 3 hours past dawn. Your stomach is beginning to make its presence known, a hollow feeling that reminds you that the thin porridge you ate at dawn is long gone. You will not eat again until midday. You will ignore the hunger. You are accustomed to being hungry. Everyone is accustomed to being hungry. Fullness is a rare and temporary state, usually achieved only during the brief period after harvest when food is relatively abundant. Your son has slowed slightly. His strokes are less frequent, his breathing heavier. He is young and not yet accustomed to a full day of labor. You do not comment. He will build his strength over time as you did. There is no shortcut to this. The body must be broken down and rebuilt over and over until it becomes a body capable of sustaining this level of effort. Around you, the other workers maintain their own rhythms. An older man, perhaps 50, works slowly but steadily, his movements economical, wasting no energy. A younger man, strong and in his prime, works more vigorously, trying to finish his strip more quickly, though what he will do with any time saved is unclear. There's always more work. Working faster simply means moving on to the next task sooner. 2 men are working together on one strip, brothers perhaps, or a father and son. They do not speak to each other. They simply work in parallel, their spades rising and falling in a rhythm that is almost but not quite synchronized. On the far side of the field, a man is plowing with an ox. The plow is a simple wooden device with an iron blade, pulled slowly through the earth by the plodding animal. The man walks behind, guiding the plow, calling occasional quiet commands to the ox. This is easier than the work you are doing, but not by much. The plow can cover more ground, but controlling it requires different skills, different strengths. And the man must provide fodder for the ox, must care for it, must own it or rent it. You do not own an ox. You cannot afford an ox. So you use a spade and your own muscles. The morning continues to pass slowly, minute by minute. There are no clocks. You do not know what time it is in any precise sense. You know it is morning, moving toward midday. You can tell by the position of the sun, by the quality of the light, by the feeling in your body that tells you roughly how long you have been working. This is enough. Precise time is not necessary. Precise time is not even a concept you would understand. Time is dawn and midday and dusk and night. Time is planting season and growing season and harvest and winter. Time is measured in seasons and days, not hours and minutes. Your mind continues to drift. You think about nothing in particular. You notice the cold. You notice the ache in your back. You notice the hunger beginning to build in your stomach. You notice these things and then stop noticing them, accepting them as the constant conditions of existence. A cloud passes across the sun. The temperature, already cold, drops perceptibly. You shiver once, involuntarily, and then continue working. The cloud passes. The weak sunlight returns. The temperature rises again, though not by much. This is the texture of medieval life. Small variations in constant hardship. Moments of slightly less cold. Moments of slightly less hunger. Moments of slightly less exhaustion. These small variations are what pass for comfort, for pleasure, for relief. Your son has developed a rhythm now, slower than yours but sustainable. He no longer looks like he is about to collapse. His body is finding its pace, learning how to distribute the effort, how to breathe, how to keep going without burning out too quickly. You do not praise him. Praise is not given for simply doing what must be done. But you notice, and in your noticing there is a kind of approval. The work continues. Time passes. The sun climbs higher. The field slowly transforms under the collective labor of the men working it, the hard winter earth being broken up, turned over, prepared for the spring planting that will come in a few weeks when the weather finally begins to warm. This is the morning. This is every morning. Slow, repetitive, exhausting work. The same motions performed over and over until they become a kind of meditation, your body working while your mind floats free, thinking of small things or nothing at all. There is no drama here, no excitement, no variation, just the steady, grinding effort of survival, just the slow turning of earth under a cold sun, just the quiet breathing of men at work, the soft thud of spades, the occasional grunt of effort. This is daily life in the Middle Ages. This is what most people do most of the time. They work, they endure, they survive if they are lucky, and they do it all in a quietness that people from later centuries will find almost impossible to imagine. You drive the spade into the earth again. Thud, push, lift, turn, step back. Your back screams, your hands burn, your stomach aches with hunger. You ignore all of it and drive the spade into the earth again. The morning stretches ahead, long and slow and cold. There are hours yet before the midday meal, hours of repetitive labor, hours of cold and ache and hunger. You do not think about this. You simply continue. One stroke of the spade after another, one step backward after another, one breath after another. This is your life. This is all of your life. This is the only life you have ever known or will ever know. The spade goes into the earth. Thud. The earth turns over. You step back. You drive the spade in again. Again and again. The darkness is complete now. You have been lying on your straw mattress for perhaps an hour, maybe less, maybe more. Time has no meaning in this darkness. There are no clocks ticking, no glowing numbers on a bedside table, no way to measure the passing minutes except by the slow rhythm of your own breathing and the breathing of your family around you. Your body aches in ways that have become so familiar they are almost comfortable. Your back throbs with a deep, persistent pain. Your shoulders feel as if they have been beaten. Your hands, even now at rest, pulse with the memory of gripping the spade handle for hours. Your legs are heavy, leaden, utterly exhausted. Every muscle in your body has been pushed to its limit today, as it is every day, and now in the darkness those muscles are slowly, inadequately recovering for tomorrow's identical labors. The cottage is cold. The fire has died down to barely glowing embers. Your wife banked it carefully before lying down, covering the coals with ash to preserve them through the night so they can be coaxed back to life in the morning. But the heat they provide is negligible, a tiny point of warmth in an ocean of cold. Your breath makes clouds in the darkness, though you cannot see them. You can only feel the cold air entering your lungs, the slightly warmer air leaving. You are covered by a rough wool blanket, the same blanket you have slept under for years. It provides some insulation, but not much. Medieval blankets are thin, coarse, scratchy against the skin. They are not the soft, thick comforters of later centuries. They are functional objects, woven by hand from wool that was sheared from sheep, cleaned, spun, and woven through countless hours of labor. This blanket represents perhaps 40 or 50 hours of work. It is precious because of that labor, and you take care of it, but it is not comfortable. Beside you, your wife has already fallen into sleep. You can hear the change in her breathing, the deeper, slower rhythm that indicates unconsciousness. She fell asleep almost the moment she lay down, exhausted beyond measure by her own day of endless labor. She will sleep heavily for a few hours, then wake in the middle of the night as most people do, lie awake in the darkness for a time, then fall back to sleep until dawn. This is the normal sleep pattern of medieval people. Sleep is not the uninterrupted 8-hour block that later centuries will consider normal. It is divided, broken, interrupted by periods of quiet wakefulness in the dark. Your children are asleep as well, huddled together on their mattress across the room. You can hear their breathing, multiple rhythms overlapping, the youngest breathing quickly and lightly, the oldest more slowly. They fell asleep even before your wife, their young bodies shutting down the moment horizontal rest was permitted. Children in the Middle Ages are always exhausted. They work from the time they can walk, contributing what labor they can to the family's survival. By nightfall, they are completely spent. Your mother, in her corner, is awake. You cannot see her in the darkness, but you can tell by her breathing that she is not asleep. Perhaps she is in pain. Her joints, twisted by decades of hard labor, probably ache worse than yours. Or perhaps she simply cannot sleep, her old body resistant to rest, her mind wandering through memories of the decades she has lived. She does not speak. You do not speak to her. There is nothing to say. She will lie there in the darkness until sleep finally comes, or until dawn arrives, whichever comes first. Outside the cottage, the village is silent, completely, utterly silent, in a way that no place in the modern world ever is. There is no hum of electricity, no distant traffic, no airplanes overhead, no machinery of any kind, no lights visible anywhere except, on clear nights, the stars and moon. Just darkness and silence and cold. Occasionally you hear small sounds, the wind moving through bare branches, a dog barking once, somewhere in the village, then falling silent again, the distant hoot of an owl in the forest. These sounds are so much a part of the nighttime soundscape that they barely register. They are expected, normal, almost like silence themselves. You shift slightly on your mattress, trying to find a position that eases the ache in your back. The straw beneath you rustles. Some of the straw has broken down into dust over the months since it was last replaced. You can feel the hard earth floor beneath the increasingly thin layer of bedding. In a few weeks, when spring truly arrives, you will need to get fresh straw. This will require going to the fields after harvest, gathering armfuls of straw, carrying it back, stuffing it into the rough cloth sacks that serve as mattresses. Another task. Another few hours of labor added to the endless list. Your mind drifts in the darkness. You think about tomorrow, which will be identical to today. More work in the fields, the same aching labor, the same hunger, the same cold, the same exhaustion by nightfall. You think about the week ahead, the month ahead. Spring planting will begin soon. That will bring a different kind of work, but no less exhausting. Planting the seeds by hand, praying for rain, hoping the crops will grow, knowing that your survival depends entirely on those seeds sprouting, growing, producing grain that can be harvested in the autumn. You think about your children sleeping across the room. What kind of life will they have? The same life you have had, the same life your father had before you, the same life every peasant has had for generations stretching back centuries. They will work the land. They will marry if they are fortunate. They will have children of their own. They will grow old if they are very fortunate. They will die and be buried in the churchyard alongside all the other villagers who came before them. This is the only possible future. There is no other path available to them. You do not think of this as tragic. You do not compare their future to some alternative that might be better. Better exists only in heaven, in the afterlife promised by the Church. Here on earth, this is simply life. You endure it. You survive it if you can. You try to make sure your children survive it. That is all anyone can do. The darkness presses in around you. It is absolute, complete, thick enough that you feel you could reach out and touch it. There are no streetlights bleeding through windows, no clock faces glowing, no phone screens, no light switches that could be flipped to push back the darkness. When the sun goes down, darkness comes, and it stays until the sun rises again. This is unalterable, unchangeable, a fundamental fact of existence. In later centuries, people will conquer this darkness. They will fill the night with artificial light. They will work after sunset. They will read and socialize and be productive in hours that you can only use for sleep. But you do not know this will happen. You cannot imagine it. Light comes from fire, and fire requires fuel, and fuel is precious and limited. So when darkness comes, activity stops. There is nothing else to do but lie down and wait for morning. Your eyes are closed, though it makes no difference. The darkness is the same whether your eyes are open or closed. You feel yourself beginning to drift toward sleep. Your thoughts become less coherent, more dreamlike. Images float through your mind without logic or sequence. The field you worked in today, your wife's face, the face of your mother when she was younger, a loaf of bread, golden and steaming, food that you do not have and cannot have. Your mind, freed from the discipline of consciousness, wanders into fantasy. You are not aware of the moment you fall asleep. There is no clear boundary between waking and sleeping. You simply drift from one state to another, your exhausted body finally shutting down, forcing rest upon itself because rest is necessary for survival. You sleep deeply at first. Your body desperately needs this rest, needs time to repair the damage done by today's labor, needs to prepare for tomorrow's identical demands. Your breathing deepens, your muscles relax, though the ache in them does not entirely disappear. Your mind drops down into the dark, dreamless place where true rest happens. Hours pass, the night deepens, the temperature drops further. Frost forms on the bare ground outside. The stars wheel slowly across the sky in their eternal patterns. The moon, if it is visible tonight, traces its arc. Time passes in the darkness, unmeasured, unmarked, irrelevant. Sometime in the deep middle of the night, you wake. This is normal, expected. Everyone wakes in the middle of the night. You lie in the darkness, your mind fuzzy. Not quite awake, but not asleep either. You are aware of the cold, aware of the ache in your body, aware of the darkness pressing in around you, aware of your family sleeping nearby. You do not get up. There is no reason to get up. There is nothing to do. You simply lie there, existing in the darkness, waiting for sleep to return. Your mind drifts. You think vague thoughts about nothing in particular. You might pray quietly, moving your lips in the familiar words of prayers learned in childhood. the Our Father, the Hail Mary, words in Latin that you do not fully understand, but that provide comfort through their familiarity. After a time, perhaps a few minutes, perhaps an hour, there is no way to know. You drift back into sleep. This second sleep is lighter, broken by dreams that you will not remember. You shift on your mattress. You pull the blanket tighter around yourself. The cold has increased. The darkest, coldest part of the night is approaching, that period just before dawn when the temperature reaches its lowest point. Your wife wakes beside you. You are dimly aware of this through your own light sleep. She lies still, as you did, waiting for sleep to return. She might be thinking about her tasks for tomorrow, about the children, about the endless work that defines her existence. Or she might be thinking of nothing, her mind as exhausted as her body, barely conscious. The night continues. Slowly, so slowly, the darkness seems eternal, seems like it will never end. But of course it will end. It always ends. Dawn will come, as it always comes, and the cycle will begin again. Your son makes a sound in his sleep, a small cry, or perhaps just a sigh. He is dreaming about something. You will never know what. He will not remember when he wakes. Dreams are like that, especially in a world where sleep is so deep, so necessary, so much a pure function of physical exhaustion rather than mental rest. You sleep again. This third sleep takes you almost to dawn. Your body is getting what rest it can, preparing itself for the demands of the coming day. Your muscles are recovering, inadequately, but as much as they are able. Your hands are healing slightly, the blisters from today forming calluses that will make tomorrow fractionally easier. Your body is adapting, as it always adapts, to the endless demands placed upon it. The darkness begins to change. You do not wake immediately, but somewhere in your sleeping mind you sense it. The absolute blackness is becoming fractionally less absolute. Dawn is approaching. Soon the rooster will crow. Soon you will need to rise. Soon another day, identical to today, will begin. But for now, for these last precious moments, you sleep. Your breathing is slow and deep. Your body is as relaxed as it ever gets. You are not aware of anything. You are simply resting, deeply, completely, in the way that only the truly exhausted can rest. This is night in the Middle Ages. This is sleep in the medieval world. It is dark. It is cold. It is broken and restless. It is insufficient and yet necessary. It is the only rest you will get before waking to another day of slow, quiet, exhausting labor. Tomorrow will come. It always comes, and you will rise from this cold mattress, and you will work again, and you will be tired again, and you will be hungry again, and you will be cold again, and then night will come once more, and you will sleep once more, and the cycle will continue. This is your life. This has always been your life. This will always be your life. The darkness is complete. The silence is profound. Your family sleeps around you. The village sleeps. The world sleeps. And in a few hours it will all begin again. Thank you for joining us on this journey through a medieval day. We hope this slow walk through history has helped you relax, perhaps even drift towards sleep yourself. Life in the Middle Ages was indeed quiet, slow, and exhausting in ways we can barely imagine today. No machines to ease the labor, no artificial light to extend the day, no abundance of food to eliminate hunger, just human bodies working from dawn to dusk, surviving through sheer endurance. Remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment about where you're watching from. We love hearing from you. Until next time, sleep well and good night.